Most people think that they're stuck in this financial rat race because of their boss or greedy corporations or the government. Now here's the thing. The first thing that you have to do if you want to achieve any sort of financial success is understand that you are responsible for where you are financially, period. That doesn't mean that there's no other factors pushing against you. That means despite these factors, you still assume responsibility for yourself. But if you want to succeed despite these factors, you have to know what these factors are. And in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 of the most powerful factors that are holding back regular Americans from achieving any sort of real wealth, is holding people back from being able to buy a home, is holding people back from being able to buy a car, is holding people back from being able to get educated, and is holding people back from just being able to live their lives. Number 1 is our relationship with money. 95% of Americans make money so they can spend this money. 5% of Americans make money that way they can take this money and grow it. It's a completely different mindset. And what happens for 95% of people is you start making money in your 20s and now you want a nice car, then you want a nice watch, you want a nice home, you want the nice vacations, you want to eat at the nice restaurants, and now you get into the rat race. You make money to spend money. But you never use that money to make yourself rich. When you use this money to buy the BMW, when you use this money to go on the nice vacations, when you use this money to buy the Gucci, you're making these companies rich, but you leave no money for yourself. Only a few percent of Americans make money with the intention of not spending it, with the intention of using their money to make more money. The wealthiest people in America don't make money to buy nice things. They make money to buy assets that make them money, which pay for the nice things. When your investments pay for your nice things, now you're looking at money very differently, because now you're not working to buy the nice things. You're working to buy the machine that's paying you money, and then this machine that's paying your money is paying for your lifestyle. But in order to achieve that, that means now for regular people, assuming you don't have rich parents, assuming somebody doesn't give you $1 million and just throws it on your lap, assuming you don't win the lottery, for regular people, if you want to become wealthy, that means now you're going to have to go through this decade of sacrifice, where you got to sacrifice the car, you sacrifice the big home, you sacrifice the vacations, you sacrifice eating out. You make these sacrifices for a little while you're working to earn more money. That way you can invest as aggressively as possible. When I was in my 20s, everybody I knew who was making a decent salary was going on vacations. They bought the nice cars, they bought the nice homes, they started spending money like it was their job. I was buying real estate. I was investing in my business. I didn't have the nice car. I wasn't going out to eat at restaurants. I wasn't going on vacations. I wasn't spending money on anything except the real estate investment properties and my own business. That was it. Now, my real estate investment properties pay me every single month. My business has grown, and my business has employees, and my business is producing a profit each and every month. Completely different mindset, but it requires you to understand that when you make money, why are you making it? Are you making it to spend? Or are you making the money to grow? Unfortunately, we've built this habit of just following what everybody else does without asking questions. Just think about it when it comes to education. How many people do you know who have gone into debt $20,000, $50,000, $200,000 to get a worthless degree? Why? Because we assume that we have to go to college in order to get a good job, because that's how we're going to be able to support ourselves financially. When in the meantime, you could have gone out and started a business. You could have gone out and worked another job. You could have gone out and got some experience, gotten a certificate for a fraction of the price, and maybe made more money. Now, if you're going to college to become a doctor, to become an attorney, to become an accountant, to become an engineer, now that's a little bit different, because if you're passionate about that, you have a set career goal. But if you're just going to college to figure out what you want to do, and then you have to go into debt to figure out what you're going to do, and then you're going deep into debt because you want to go to a fancy college that's costing you $20,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 a year, and now you graduate school with multiple 6 figures worth of debt, and you're making $45,000 a year, where's the financial sense in that? And this is where we just assume, oh, everybody's going to college. I should go to college. I deserve to go to college. Everybody's doing it. That's how I'm going to make a good income. And then you get slapped with a dose of reality, because then you graduate school and now you have all these student loans that you have to pay back. And on top of that, student loans are one of the only types of debt out there, federal student loans, that you can't bankrupt your way out of. Why? Because the government is issuing it and they want to make sure they get paid. So they charge you these high interest rates, they give you unlimited amounts of money, and then they make sure that you pay, because if you don't, They can throw you in jail. Number 2 is the lack of financial education. Now, we talked about the lack of financial education when it comes to overspending, but I want to talk about now when it comes to earning money. We are all taught to go to school, to get good grades, to get a good job. Now, when you do that, you're getting paid for what you do, which is fine, but that's not the only way that you can get paid. In fact, what do wealthy people do? They don't want to get paid for what they do. They want to get paid for what they own. Because when you get paid for what you own, not for what you do, you can make unlimited amounts of money and you can keep more of that money. When it comes to getting paid for what you do, this is where now you go into work every single day and you're trying to get a paycheck. There's a lot of different ways to get paid. If you don't like what you're at right now, look for another job, look for another career, get a certificate, look for something else where you have more advancement opportunities, maybe get a sales position, something where you can get commission, something where you have the opportunity to earn more money. There's a lot of different ways to do something and earn more money. But the alternative, if you don't want to do it through working in a company, you can also work to own the company. This means now either you're building a company or you buy a company where now, sure, maybe you get a salary for working in the company that you own, but you also now own the profits. You are the one who gets the earnings from the company. There's a limit to how many hours you can work in a day, which is why there's a limit to how much value you can produce, which is why there's a limit to how much money you can earn from what you do. But there's no limit to how much you can own, which means there's no limit to how much money you can make from the assets that you control. And if you can own more assets, well, now you can earn more money without having to work even harder because now you own the machines that are making money. This could be businesses, this could be real estate, and you might be thinking, but Jaspreet, I don't have any money to go out and buy a business. How am I supposed to start? Well, you can go to create it as well. A lot of businesses have started with less than $100. And so you can start to create your own business where now you can work to earn more money. And this is a whole other part of financial education of how can you create your own income? How can you sell something to somebody else? How can you get somebody to give you money in exchange for something that you have? Do you have a product? Do you have a service? Do you have an idea? Do you have something that people are willing to pay money for? If not, can you learn something that people are willing to pay money for? Can you learn marketing? Can you learn sales? Can you learn copywriting? Can you learn video editing? Is there a skill that you can learn that you can then monetize by selling this skill to business owners who have money? Business owners have money, but they want more time. You have time, but you don't have any money. How can you exchange your services that way the business owners who have money can give you money in exchange for your time? And this is where it gets even more interesting because we're never taught the next part, which is our system, our tax system rewards you for being the creator, meaning making money from what you own rather than making money from what you do. When you go to work every single day to get paid, you are a W-2 employee. And this income you get as a W-2 employee comes with the highest tax rates and the lowest tax write-offs. Because now when you earn money from what you do, this is called ordinary income. It's also known as earned income. And this comes with the highest tax rates, the lowest tax deductions. When you make money from what you own, whether it be through your business or through your investments, this could be now portfolio income or passive income. Both of these are different types of investment income. And these come with either lower tax rates and higher tax write-offs. And if you own your own business, well, you'll also get higher tax write-offs. Why? Because our tax system is incentivizing you for taking the risk. Now, hate it or love it, I'm telling you how the system works. Now, you can either hate it and get angry, or you can learn it and use it to your advantage. The third factor that has destroyed so many families financially is greed. Now, there are different levels to greed, and I believe everybody has some level of greed. Every entity has some level of greed, and you got to understand now where is good greed and where is bad greed. Because we talk about when it comes to greed, everybody talks about banks before the 2008 crash and how greedy banks were when they were making these risky loans to people, and then they got bailed out. They were greedy. But here's the thing. The banks were too big to fail, so the government came in and they bailed them out. You, as an individual investor, are not going to get bailed out by the government the way the big banks did. Now, I don't agree with bailing out the banks. However, what I'm trying to say is you don't get that benefit. And so when regular people, you as a regular person, get greedy and you throw your money into risky stocks, into risky cryptocurrencies, hoping to double your money in 90 days, and then you see your money go down to zero, no one's coming to bail you out. And what happens is when people get this idea of, oh my God, I can get rich quick if this investment doubles in 90 days, I can get rich quick if this thing happens. Now we get greedy. we get excited, people become desperate, and now you throw your money into this investment where you shouldn't be putting your money, and now you risk your money going down to zero. And now when you're taking your hard-earned money that you took 6 months worth of income that you've been working to put aside, and now you lose this money on a bad investment, now you're the one who pays the price because no one's coming to bail you out. Number 4 is the hidden tax. Have you ever wondered why in the 1970s you would have one person go to work and this one person's income could afford a house, it could afford a car, it could afford education, and they could afford vacations and a comfortable retirement, versus today you have 2-income households and people are still struggling to buy a home, people are still struggling to buy a car, people are still struggling to pay for school, and people are struggling to go on a vacation. Psst. It's the hidden tax. See, here's the thing. When the government spends money, it has to earn money in order to spend it. And the way that the government earns money is by taxing its citizens. It taxes people. So you go to work every single day, you get a paycheck, and then you pay taxes. Now, the government collects this tax revenue and they can spend it for whatever they want to do. Now, if the government spends more money than what they bring in, they have to cover this somehow. They can create a legislation to pass a new tax bill, which would show how they're getting the money to pay for these taxes, but if they can't do that, the alternative is they can print this money out of thin air. The government can work with the Federal Reserve Bank to print money, and then this new money can be used to fund the government spending. Now, if the government would normally have to raise taxes in order to get the money, to spend the money, how come they can just print money and no one have to pay for it? Because when the government wants to build new infrastructure and they raise your taxes, now you're making less money in order to pay for this new infrastructure. But if the government wants to pay for this infrastructure by just printing money and no one has to pay for it, how come we have to pay taxes in the first place? Well, you do, and it's a hidden tax. That's why I keep calling it the hidden tax, because when the government spends money it doesn't have, everybody has to pay the price through the hidden tax. And the burden, the main burden, goes on to the middle class and the financially poor and the financially uneducated, because this hidden tax comes in the form of inflation. When you print money without producing more wealth, the value of each individual dollar goes down, causing the price of things to go up. And this hurts the regular person because now your salaries don't keep up with inflation, your savings aren't growing fast enough to keep up with inflation, which means that now you're slowly becoming poorer even if you're getting a raise because the price of things are rising faster than your income, while the wealthy and the financially educated continue to benefit because now you own the assets are growing in value, you are becoming wealthier, even though the price of things are going up. This government spending is fueled by the money printing by the Federal Reserve Bank, and this money printing by the Federal Reserve Bank creates inflation, which is a hidden tax paid for by the financially uneducated, the middle class, and the poor. This is why we've been seeing a bigger divide between the rich and the poor, because we've been printing money every time we've been seeing an economic slowdown, and we've been printing money to help create inflation. That's why the Federal Reserve Bank keeps saying that they want to see 2% inflation, not 0% inflation, but 2% inflation, because they want to continue growing the monetary supply. This 2% inflation benefits the rich, it benefits the wealthy, and it benefits the financially educated, but it hurts the financially uneducated. So the government and the Federal Reserve Bank want to spend more money than they bring in. They want to create inflation, and that benefits some while hurting everybody else. This is why, again, you have to become financially educated. That way you can understand this and own assets, invest your money. That way you can benefit from the inflation that happens, because the reality is this inflation is going to continue to happen. And number 5 is the lack of money education, because most of the time for the average person, we don't understand how money plays a part in our lives. So what do? We create smoke screens around money. We say, don't talk about money, don't worry about money, money is taboo, money is evil, don't worry about money, money is just fine. Why? Because we're insecure about our own money and we don't understand how money plays a part in our lives. We don't know how to get money, we don't know how to grow our money, so we just try to ignore the topic of money, when in reality, we just don't understand how money plays a part in our lives. There are 4 parts to living a happy and healthy life. You have to be physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit, and then financially fit. More money will help the financial part of your life, but it's not going to fix the physical part, the mental part, and the spiritual part. Sure, more money can buy you a better trainer, it can buy you a therapist, it can buy you more things, but unless you have the mindset to want to be physically healthy, more money is not going to make you put that Big Mac down. And more money is not going to make you feel less depressed or less anxious, unless the reason why you're depressed or anxious is because of money problems. More money will fix the money problems, but you also have to be physically healthy, you have to be mentally healthy, you have to be around people that you love, around people that you care about, and you have to be spiritually healthy. You have to have a purpose, a reason why you're on this earth. Once you have these things, this is where more money can allow you to do more things that make you happy. You can give more to people who make you happy. You can help out other people. But you have to understand how money plays a part in your life and understand that if you don't have money, the lack of money can create a lot of physical problems. It can create mental problems. It can create spiritual problems, in addition to all the financial problems that it can create, which is why you have to understand how money works and you can't just ignore the topic of money. I make money, I pay taxes, and then whatever's left I have to use to fly to Manhattan. If I wanted to go to San Diego, the same thing. If I wanted to buy a cell phone, same thing. If I wanted to buy a laptop, same thing. Here, if I needed to buy a truck for my business, if it classifies under the right exemptions, because there are deductions out there right now that will allow you to deduct the value of